Dan Zucker of PredicteForm.com with Armen and Levack, 104.5 The Team. Let's get you going for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Dan, always trying to help us to make some money. Dan, how do you beat American Pharoah? How do you make money around American Pharoah in this race?
Well, I will tell you, I really thought there was a significant chance that American Pharoah could be beat. He's trying to do a number of things for the first time. First, he's trying to win this coveted Grand Slam, which is the Triple Crown and the Breeders' Cup Classic. He's facing older horses for the first time, and two of the best older horses in Tonalist and Honor Code. He's facing the two best peers, 3-year-olds that he's run against before and recently got beat by Keen Ice. He is also facing Frosted. He's facing the best Euro, or the Euro that they think has the best chance to get over the ground, in Glen Eagles. And he was to be facing Beholder, one of the best fillies or one of the best older mares we've seen in a very long time. Unfortunately, as we know, Beholder came down with a continuation of what we call a horse cold, and she was scratched. But even in that case, I think American Pharoah was really looking at a significant challenge here and trying to do something he hasn't done before.
We got to see Pharoah unfortunately get upset here in the Capital Region in Saratoga. What do you think they'll do differently in this race to try and keep that from happening again?
Well, this race and typically the Classic is all about pace. Most horse races are about pace. With Beholder out, unless somebody goes to challenge American Pharoah for the lead, he might get the race all his own way. So if you're trying to beat American Pharoah, you're rooting for one of these other runners to go to the lead. And I'll tell you, I think Frosted is probably the one horse that has that gas. Smooth Roller does as well. But it's such a big race for such big money that these owners and trainers have to know somebody's has to go for American Pharoah. And hopefully it's not going to be the case where everybody says, I hope he goes, I hope he goes, I hope he goes, and nobody goes. Ideally, it would be everybody goes. But it is all going to be about the pace of the race, and if Pharoah gets the lead easily and early, he will be tough to beat.
Dan Zucker, PredicteForm.com. Dan, producer guys tells me you left him a voicemail saying, I'm going to come on the air and I'm going to pick some blanking winners. What do you got for us, man? Give us some winners.
No, I was really excited. I'll be honest with you. I was until from yesterday when Beholder got scratched. That was like a big kick in the stomach for me because I really felt like in that race at least there are 2 or 3 horses that can beat him. I still believe that Tonalist, Honor Code, and Keen Ice are horses that can take a run at American Pharoah. I just was a little more excited before Beholder got scratched because she was the real speed in the race. You know, the other horse that everybody's talking about, and you don't need to be a soothsayer or a genius like me to figure it out, is Golden Horn in the turf. He ships in from Europe. He's one of the best horses in the world. He won the Arc de Triomphe, which is like the French Kentucky Derby, and he will be very difficult to beat. But again, he's going to be less than even money, so there's no real value there.
How else can PredicteForm.com help me win some cash this weekend?
How else can we help you win? Would you want me to give you one horse to key on?
I would love that.
The big horse that I like is a horse named Rachel's Valentine. Now, I had the luxury of working for Mr. Jess Jackson and following his passing, Barbara Banke. They owned Kendall Jackson Winery. I think everybody's probably bought alcohol or wine from them. They have a juvenile filly named Rachel's Valentina. She is the first foal out of Rachel Alexandra, who was one of the greatest female racehorses. She's going to be 7-2. There's a big favorite in the race named Songbird. I think Rachel's Valentina is going to have value, and we might get 4-1 on her.
Ooh, wow. I like that. See, that's the scoop.
That's 9:05, or I guess that's noon your time on Saturday for Rachel's Valentina. The races start really early this year.
Got it. Perfect.
Like it.
Dan Zucker, PredicteForm.com. Dan, tell us what else to expect when we go to PredicteForm.com, why we should go there.
Well, I'm literally spent like... The reason I'm divorced is I spend so much time writing articles and analysis for the Breeders' Cup. I spent about 10 hours into the Breeders' Cup Classic, and I really get into every race, every horse in the race, and you can really learn, I think, and get an understanding for how the race will play out well beyond what you see in the past performances. We also have our value picks will give you basically our selections for every race, and I looked at them this morning. The PredicteForm value plays are on, of the 13 or 14 Breeders' Cup races, 9 of our selections are over 10-1. So it's $29.95 to subscribe. You can get a handful of long shots, and all you really need is one of those horses over 2 days to win for you to have a positive ROI, and that's what we're looking for.
Help fund Dan's divorce attorneys at PredicteForm.com.
I don't know why I said that.
No, I like it.
Okay, I'm in the same boat. It wasn't about horses. It was everything else for me.
Hey, you proved your dedication. It's no problem. Dan Zucker, PredicteForm.com. They know what they're doing. Dan, always looking forward to talking to you, man. Thanks so much for your time today.
And I will tell you one other thing.
Yeah.
The grass is always greener on the other side. All right, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Dan.